Welcome back, everyone, to the Alienware Analyst Desk. I got Taco and Demi joining me here for match number 2 of HRX 2018 Smite World Championships. It is NRG versus LG, 3rd year in a row.
I think the crowd says it all right now.
Man, I had Hindu Man up here earlier asking me to give a vote on who, how can you go against NRG, who is the 2-time World Championships, and LG, of course, with BaRRa and Jeff on them, winning Season 1. They have the plot armor, the document. What?
It's just going to be all over the place, and probably a very emotional roller coaster for this crowd, at least today, because I think that this is probably one of the most anticipated sets out of HRX.
Yeah, man, the crowd here is hype, everyone, and they're hyped for multiple reasons. And if you can't be here, you can be hyped still, because we got a lot of stuff going on, guys. You guys can get some free skins in chat link and watch the Smite Game World Championships on Twitch and, of course, on Mixer for a chance to get some awesome in-game content. And that is the only way that you can get that HRX Loki skin. But we're done with the skins, everyone. We're here for the game. And LG versus NRG, what the casters have been saying time and time again is that LG has been able to take 2 games off of NRG before they can take 2 games off of them. But it's usually been a best of 5 because they meet in the semifinals. Now these 2 powerhouses are meeting in the quarterfinals. It's like Goku and Vegeta fighting each other in the first round in Dragon Ball Z. My goodness.
It is very important to say that this time around it's a different energy. It is an energy that is reformed. They have maniaKK on their team. And I think that the entire dynamic of NRG being able to actually drop 2 sets early on might change entirely. They might be able to blow out LG completely.
I think that's probably my most concerning factor about this set, actually, is that this is a best of 3. This isn't the best of 5 that we've been accustomed to seeing between these 2 teams. There isn't a whole lot of room for mistakes, and I mean, 1 game to either side is going to make all the difference.
All right, well, let's break it down here. I think the solo lane is probably going to be the most interesting lane, and although that's where most of the aggression is, I'm just talking about the players right now. maniaKK being the newest player replacing you, Demi. Tell me about maniaKK a little bit and how he fits into the NRG roster.
maniaKK is a similar kind of style player like to me. He likes to play solo laners in Warriors and Guardians both. He's very good with them. He's a bit more aggressive than me. He fits with the playstyle more, and NRG has shifted towards this kind of all-in team where you have maniaKK combining with adapting, and NRG being more aggressive with maniaKK only helps him here.
Well, we already talked about maniaKK, but let's see the full team roster for NRG.
NRG. emilitoo. iRaffer. Yammyn. Adapting. maniaKK.
And just like we were talking about there, he is maniaKK up on the stage with NRG. Aggressive player, or do you think we're going to see a Bellona or Cyrus?
I think we're definitely going to see an Osiris here, something aggressive here. I actually hope that he's doing all right. A couple of days ago, he's been having said that he's had some fever.
Oh, no.
Just like me 2 years ago. So the classic NRG solo laner mindset.
Yeah, but you being sick in Season 2, you won.
It helps you focus. It helps you focus. So being sick, being on Osiris, you know, the win condition is here.
That's if he's able to get Osiris. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of heavily contested jungle and solo lane picks, especially considering that maniaKK really does feel like the opposite spectrum in comparison to Aquarius on Luminosity, in that Aquarius tends to play, I would say, a little bit more passive in the laning phase.
Yeah, he also tends to pick a little bit of off-meta picks. We've seen him on Thanatos. Do you think we're going to see that, or is it just going to stick with the Bruisers?
Personally, myself, I would doubt to see a Thanatos here. Thanatos has been in the meta in Season 3, now Season 4, kind of shifted away from that. I still think he's confident enough to pick that, though. I kind of want to see him on Hercules, where he's really shined.
Well, let's take a quick look at the roster for Team LG.
Luminosity. BaRRaCCuDDa. JeffHindla. Baskin. Aquarius.
JeffHindla and BaRRaCCuDDa up on the screen right now, guys. The duo lane that has been together forever. I mean, can you find a more lovable duo than this?
I feel like this is starting to become a throwback for you as well, not just for everybody else. I mean, Kelly's here, Jeff and BaRRa are still here. All the pieces are really lining up.
Well, Jeff and BaRRa have been here at Worlds every year, but last 2 years, facing up against NRG, that has been their kryptonite. You know what? We got to look at BaRRaCCuDDa. Let's look at him more in depth.
I was extremely bad at the game. I loved Ymir and Sun Wukong at the time, which is now Hunbots, and I just literally fed every game. I had no idea what fights were good. I would see guys in front of me like, I can kill them, and then just attack and die and attack and die. And I had a terrible kill death ratio when I started. I had no idea how to lane. I had no idea how to play Smite. And I don't even remember getting good. I think I just kind of woke up one day and was like, hey, I'm not feeding today. This is nice.
Man, how can you be so humble and so good like BaRRaCCuDDa?
Honestly, that's the million-dollar question, but I think that it goes to say that there's a reason why this man is a crowd favorite. It's, as you just said, he is so incredibly talented and mechanically gifted when it comes to the hunter role, but on top of it all, he's just a great guy.
But we've seen these players, we've seen these teams go in seasons 2 and 3. However, going into season 4, both of these teams actually struggled at the start of it. Dimmy, tell me what happened at NRG's start through the spring and summer split.
So NRG's start has been a bit rough, I think, catching on to the meta game and a bit like trying to figure out who we are. We had a really big slump that we tried to come out of. And at some point, you kind of think, when is it going to complete? Like, when is it going to come better for us again? When are we going to start winning again? And that didn't really happen until I left the team then. And I actually think that the new mind game with maniaKK being on the team now is a smart choice, and that's what gave them the will to be the best again.
maniaKK on the team, maybe adding a little aggression, and of course what a few people have been saying is adapting, is finally stepping away from what he likes and is playing what's in the meta.
Yeah, right, that is very true. Last Super Regionals we saw him on characters like Chulainn, just being this frontline initiation, actually playing tank circuit as well, making sure he's the first one in, setting up his team, setting up Yammyn and iRaffer, and just completing 4 kills here. In the past, he's been seen on assassins, like backline divers, people that come into the team fight later on. Maybe we'll see that as well here.
And LG as well, lost in spring and summerland at the quarterfinals. Do you think we're going to see them lose at the quarterfinals here today, Taco?
It's going to be a tough one to call. Most people like to say third time's the charm, but when it comes to a matchup like this with genuinely 2 titans from their region, it's very difficult to label one over the other. This, for me, is mostly going to be a breakdown of the drafting being the reason why one side loses in comparison to the other.
And what about the starts? Are we going to see a typical 1-2-2 start here?
I do expect both NRG and LG to pull all their resources into the solo lane, try to get pressure here. NRG, although being a European team, they have a very American playstyle where they love to focus on solo lane. They want to make sure that maniaKK gets his lane set. Same for LG here. They want to do everything in their power to actually get Aquarius into the game.
And I think we saw it in day 1, but maybe that was because LG was facing an international team. But Jeff actually started in the duo lane with BaRRa over in the mid. Is that going to happen today, having that more pressure over in the mid lane?
Again, it's as Dimmy just said, but I can't see Luminosity really wanting to forfeit any sort of solo side pressure, because those speed and blue buff positionings are just all too important. If NRG gets even the slightest sense of what the timers are for those buffs, it's going to be a non-stop battle in the jungle.
Let's talk a bit about the mid lane. Yammyn, who was the Season 2 World's MVP in Baskin, not new to the Smite Esports scene, but relatively new with Jeff and BaRRa in LG. How do these two match up?
Ever since Baskin was brought onto Luminosity, and for a short period of time, he actually left and then was pulled back again, but this time for the mid lane role. He's adapted incredibly well to this position. I think more importantly, his mindset as a player has altered as well because of being led by Jeff and BaRRa.
Well, we saw him pick Kernunos in game 1, but again, could that have been just an international pick, or are we going to see him pick a physical hunter, or physical mid?
Yeah, like given Baskin's transitions in the mid lane, he has a very good understanding what is currently the meta game, what is working well. I am very 100% sure we'll see him on hunter.
But Raijin, time and time again, has been the dominant mid laner. Why would they not prioritize a bursty mage like that?
It depends. If they can go both a good hunter, early pressure hunter, alongside the Raijin, we'll also see that. But just depends how the draft flows.
Well, we're talking about drafting. Who are they going to be focusing banning out? Are they going to try and take out some of the tanks, or is it going to be Ullr and AMC again?
Both sides are really just going to be looking at picks that eliminate strategies from the other. For instance, utility-based compositions, you're not going to really want to see the Chulainn's, even though Osiris is. It's a great pick for maniaKK. So I guess technically it'll be emphasis towards warriors and guardians is what I would imagine.
I can also see them just going completely all out on hunters, that we see up to 4 hunters in the bans here, and then just see how the game plays out from there. Obviously, emilitoo and NRG here having the option to also go into magical carries that he's so well known for.
That's right. What is it? He's got Soul and Chrono skins specifically for him. Maybe we're going to see a Freya? Yeah, Alquang maybe? Who knows?
Alquang would be interesting. I don't believe we've seen any PC Alquang. I know console has brought it out from odd occasion in the past, but for emilitoo, having that little bit of flexibility, it can still carry a risk with it, because mages having such a low health bar early game, he doesn't want to really have to worry about ganks.
And the one downside that emilitoo does have is that he's aggressive to a fault sometimes. Has that changed at all, Demi?
Not really. He still does it.
So, I mean, with BaRRaCCuDDa versus emilitoo, how does that boxing matchup work?
It's usually in the past, I would have to favor BaRRaCCuDDa in that matchup, and I think Emil has even approached BaRRa on numerous occasions saying, you handled me, because BaRRa absolutely loves going off against emilitoo.
Oh, and we also saw BaRRa go against Mingyu, who had perfect positioning and everything, but BaRRa is just so smart and so calm with his plays. He doesn't freak out.
When people talk about BaRRaCCuDDa and the fight he takes in the dual lane, every single hunter will commend him for his ability to take smart fights. You see people fighting for, let's say, they can tell us their hunter Artio this season. He just goes all in, he goes aggressive every single wave. BaRRaCCuDDa knows exactly when to fight.
All right, we're going to be joining in the picks and bans in just a moment, everyone. Here, Luminosity versus NRG. This is the second matchup of the day that we're going to be seeing. The winner of this is going to be going up against Rival, the #1 seeded team out of EU. Out of these two teams, Demi, who do you think has a better chance of beating Rival?
Personally, I think that NRG is really hungry to beat Rival, so personally, I'll give it to them. I think LG are actually a bit intimidated by Rival, so we'll see about that.
All right, I believe we are ready, everyone, for picks and bans. It is game #1 of Luminosity Gaming versus NRG. Whew, the crowd is hyped. It is a packed house right now, everyone. This is the match that we have been waiting for the last 2 months.
It's only going to get crazier, too, because as the games are progressing, once the match starts, it's just so much intensity already inside of the arena. But more importantly, again, just have to see the priority being addressed entirely to solo jungle pressure.
They do not want adapting back on that Circuit, as we got to see him. Or actually, he played Ravana in the first game. That was jungle Circuit coming out of Mask.
Yeah, we have also seen Circuit from adapting in the super regionals. Also interesting here, LG is the first pick side, so NRG on the second pick here. They're kind of forced to ban what they absolutely don't want to face, or maybe they want to try to trade OPs. I think with the Fafnir ban here, they want to just get rid of what they don't want to face here.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Jeff play Fafnir already and was just phenomenal.
Not to mention that Fafnir being banned away, he would be a high priority god for using a double hunter strategy. So if Luminosity were to try and lean towards that direction, they at least wouldn't have to, or NRG wouldn't have to worry about the Fafnir pickup as well.
Looks like both teams don't want to deal with AMC or Ullr, of course, the two top ban hunters that we're going to be seeing. Maybe a Hachiman and a Huhi coming out for them. Or maybe we'll see a magical hunter.
Yeah, it could also be true. I think for now, wow. Looks like the pick will be going to the Chulainn here. Also up for contestation here are Raijin, Artio, and Osiris. So I'm gonna think to see these contested here.
Ooh, I guess not a Sylvanus pick.
Sylvanus being the selection is an interesting choice for iRaffer. Haven't really seen a whole lot of Sylvanus out of him, but he's a talented player, and I'm certain that NRG has something up their sleeve.
Yeah, Sylvanus being one of iRaffer's old signature gods. Back in the day, he used to go Soulstone Sylvanus for the extra kill potential. Here we see Mercury hovered for LG, the signature Mercury for Mask. Is it going to get locked in, I wonder?
It could just be for the throwback reasoning of what happened last year when Mask had such an excellent game on this Mercury. But he's hovering around those assassins.
Moving over to Naja?
It makes sense to a certain extent, because tank Naja, or even just a hybrid build Naja, has been great for taking members out of the fight. So if a Naja is able to take out, say, a Raijin, then they don't have to worry about that during an engagement.
Definitely, and we got Hachiman following up here, going over to BaRRaCCuDDa, or maybe going over to Baskin.
Could also be, yeah. Generally speaking, these picks and bans, though, this is the classic LG for me. I love this. They're playing with the crowd. They hover the picks just for the reaction, just to like play with the crowd. I love it.
Yeah, but then they hovered Naja and they picked him. And of course, Raijin coming out over there in NRG. I'm actually surprised that this is the 6th pick that we're seeing.
I'm not very surprised by that, considering that it had to be one of those top 3 selections. Otherwise, it's almost guaranteed to be banned in the 3rd and 4th slots. But NRG as well just want to maintain that high pressure that they've already got spread pretty evenly from their draft so far between Raijin, Ravana, and Sylvanus.
Do you guys think we're going to be seeing adapting on Ravana?
Yes, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. And so who are they going to put over in the solo lane then?
Osiris is still open. That could be a choice, but it could also easily be a Guardian here. maniaKK very proud to play those. Also, Erlong is the character he doesn't particularly enjoy playing, but also can play very well.
Yeah, we've seen him on Erlingshen a few times.
Yeah.
Oh, Morrigan being banned out. Baskin loves Morrigan, and he's mechanically a genius with her.
Yeah, that's definitely a respect ban here, for sure. Also interesting to see here that NRG doesn't have a Hunter yet. That means there should be target bans coming out here unless LG doesn't really care what Emel's going to play.
Would the target ban be a magical hunter, or would it be someone like Hui?
Hui, for sure. Emil is amazing on Hui.
Okay.
Plus, Hachiman probably would have the most difficult time against a Hui. Very easy to catch him out with that Mark the Crow and Ricochet.
Couldn't that be a flex pick, though, for Hachiman, going over into the mid lane instead, or does Hachiman not do well against Raijin?
I wouldn't traditionally really want to put the Hachiman against the Raijin, considering that they have a physical jungle and solo already locked away. It would be kind of hard for Luminosity to really flex that Hachi with another hunter.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I can easily see LG going for physicals as well, though, just to get the early pressure here. Hachiman against Raijin, I think we've seen the last match in the rival against Nocturnes. I think it went just fine. The Raijin has some really good opportunities, seeing how Hachiman's dash is short, but we see a gap ban here from NRG.
Looks like they don't want JeffHindla to get that, and of course taking out Hui from the equation here.
NRG next up on the pick here, looking probably at the Hunter position. Actually, no, they were going to hold that for last pick unless they anticipate the double Hunter for LG potentially coming out.
With Hachiman having been picked up, there is still the flexibility for Emil to try and take that Chronos or Soul even into the duo lane. But I think that Emil also at times has flexed even for those not very traditional hunters such as Neith, just to provide that setup for NRG in the past.
Yeah, Neith, Emil's oldest signature god, I think, is something that he doesn't enjoy at all, but he does play it every now and then. I think in this metagame, Neith is not the greatest choice here. But
what happened to Global Ultimates being like the big thing? All we see now is really Thor.
Global Ultimates in the form of Neith here, for example, are still really amazing. Issue is Neith herself doesn't really transition well into the late game, and she's not that natural auto-attack character you want to carry the late game.
All right, we got an Artio pick over in NRG and a Ganesh pick on LG. Looks like the crowd enjoys that Ganesh going to be playing on, or JeffHindla playing Ganesh.
Really like the Ganesh selection, but even more so with Janus. He's finally making his first appearance as HRX, I believe.
Ooh. Janus going up against this Raijin in the mid lane, and then we have Ram over in NRG. Not much of a surprise right there.
Artio is definitely going to be something that it's going to be a maniac. It's something that he's very comfortable on. It's something he's played a lot, I'm sure of it. Rama is Emel's most played god, but not his best hunter.
All right, guys, it is LG versus NRG. Looking at these drafts, Taco, who do you give it to?
I would have to favor Luminosity's jungle solo pressure in comparison to NRG for game 1.
Demi, are you going to vote against your old team?
I'm calling NRG.
All right, it's 1-1 right now. Our analysts are split. Casters, I hope you guys are ready because I know I am. It is game number 1, everyone, with Luminosity Gaming versus NRG.
Thank you so much, Kelly and the analyst desk. It's time now to get this one underway. It's been a year in waiting, Aggro. A year in waiting, and we're finally here.
Man, I'm so excited right now. I tweeted, it's been 360-something days since I've been waiting for this, because you know, Destiny just tells you that LG and NRG are going to match up somewhere. It's not the semifinals where they have the last 2 years. I don't care. I would watch these two play in the middle of spring on some laptops that barely even run it. You know what I mean? I will catch these guys playing anywhere.
Had a little panic, then I was like, hang on, I'm going to get a face-off in the jungle straight away. No quick ward placed down by NRG there. Biggest key about this one, though, Aggro, as you think about it, is they both have a bit of plot armor.
Yes.
LG have always made a semi-final minimum every single year. NRG won every single championship they've been to so far.
And they've always had these incredible titanic battles against one another, and I can't imagine this one is going to be anything different. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's best of 3 or best of 5. This is, I'd be shocked if this didn't go right down to the wire in game 3.
Looking at Rapper's build here at the start, just watch his gift and blink online for him. Invested more in health potions, no mana regen here. Gonna have to be very careful about his ability usage in the early game.
NRG winning the little poke trade so far in mid. Baskin a little bit off the mark with that unstable vortex, but both sides have enough health potions to stay relevant.
You know what my favorite thing is going to be to see? The support versus support battle in the duo lane. The real beast, but Baskin in mid. He has got dangerously low, but so has Yammyn.
I mean, he's got 1 health potion remaining. He's already used 1. The clear goes the way of Luminosity, and we see these hunters starting in mid in order to give a team flexibility on where they want to take that pressure in the mid lane. Luminosity decided to back up and go for their own buff. Look at where NRG is going. They are invading LG's speed.
Yep, speed all the way, and it looks like it's quite safe. NRG going to take the actual elementals too, because no one's going to contest from LG, so LG seem quite happy to just play safe for now.
So LG goes to their own red. It seems a little curious, but I love what they do. It actually gets them back towards the mid lane quicker, and now they can do an invade. So they've already secured 2 buffs in the time that NRG has only done a buff and about a half of a wave.
It seems emilitoo and Yammyn will respect the fact that LG went to their half of the jungle, and we'll pick it up, but it looks like iRaffer could have got pinched for a second. You saw the pings come out there, and I believe that was from Jeff, just to let him know where iRaffer was. So Oracle's on the left, going to go the way of LG, and surprisingly enough, Ryan, I kind of expected to see this the other way around. LG's, you know, solo and jungler looked like they could be dominant on this right-hand side of the start.
I mean, Artio does not suffer from the same problems that most Guardians do. Usually when we see a Guardian in the solo lane, we talk about how their clear isn't very good, but we're looking for them to team fight well later on. Artio team fights well later on, don't get me wrong, but her wave clear is also fairly strong, so that gives NRG at least enough pressure in order to defend their own buffs on that right-hand side. Mask didn't get a chance to get his speed, adapting did, so that's another reason why we see Luminosity's right side play a little bit more passive, because Mask just cannot match the rotation of adapting.
Well, now BaRRaCCuDDa has made the rotation to the duo lane now, and he's going to be able to push that wave in. emilitoo still sat in the mid lane with Yammyn at the moment, but on the right-hand side of things, Mask in a bit of trouble. Nice little sash to escape some of the damage. Adapting going to walk away, and maniaKK hanging around a little bit longer than expected, but it's all good for the time being.
Mask has to use the purification beads, and Naja, one of those characters that once he's in, and the only way to get out is to kill someone or get killed without use of your ultimate. Being level 4, of course, Mask didn't have use, so good identification by NRG to play aggressive in that scenario. In the wave, Naja early, not nearly as scary as when you're alone in the jungle.
Level 5 for maniaKK alongside Janus in the mid lane for Baskin, so keep an eye on the global rotation available for this Janus. And we were speaking off air just before this game went live about Baskin's Janus, and we've not seen too many great things out of it so far this year.
No, but I believe the only time we've seen it was fairly early on in Baskin's mid transition, so you assume he's a little bit more.
Oh, Aquarius is in a bit of trouble here, needs to get back to the tower, and does so. Oh, no! Not in time whatsoever! Bluestone Pendant! will get first blood for NRG Esports.
And Luminosity first picked this Chulainn, and you'd imagine it's because they want to get Aquarius comfortable in a matchup where he feels like he can actually trade with adapting and maniaKK. Not the best start for LG's rookie solo laner on his first time here at the world stage.
And adapting was the one that got the first kill too on the Ravana jungle, which we've seen when it gets going early on in the game, this warrior jungle can be very detrimental with the amount of damage he can output so quick.
Absolutely, but this is an opportunity that Luminosity could potentially take advantage of, is the fact that adapting didn't go for purification beads, relying on that overhead kick CC immunity and the CC immunity from his ultimate. Doesn't have an option if he gets CC chained into that Windfire wheels, and with Janus's changes to have that unstable vortex be a little bit more consistent, you don't have to position yourself to double hit the unstable vortex off of that Naja ult. LG might just have enough damage to burst him down before he hits the ground.
Well, you mentioned relics there for a minute, and if you look at Luminosity, they did start with 2 sprints this game as well for themselves. JeffHindla with 1, and Aquarius too, who did use it in that escape attempt from the first blood. But the more interesting one for me is maniaKK's meditation. We've seen a little bit more of this meditation coming back into the fray.
We really have, and it's really good at that out-of-combat healing. You shell better in combat, it makes you a little bit more resilient when you're in the thick of a fight, but outside of the fight, meditation's a great use of, we're a little bit low, but maybe we can do this objective if we were just a little bit healthier, that meditation gives that to you. Plus, Artio, if she doesn't get her blue buff, can be pretty mana intensive, just like just about every stand switching god. You have more abilities to use, you're gonna be using more mana, so this meditation can kind of help alleviate that weakness.
Well, we saw NRG play a little bit earlier on this week, and we saw Raptors start with the Watcher's Gift, and here's an engage from Adapting going in, gonna force the portal out of Baskin, the ultimate actually defensively away. Speed buff, however, was stolen away cheekily enough.
That's the confidence that I love to see on the world stage. I mean, this is the biggest game of Baskin's life, basically. It's that and the time he matched up against Epsilon, the same roster, basically, in Season 2 during the semifinals. And he's there willing to just stand there, watch Adapting, walk at him, and still be able to secure that speed buff. Not the biggest play in the world by any means, but I love the confidence he's playing.
Well, it was a good timing, too, because Yammyn at the same time had just gone back to base to finish off that Doom Orb. Something we've seen a little bit more of coming out from these mid laners now. It used to be a Book of Toth rush at Super Regionals, but with the love to Doom Orb, we're seeing it a bit more often.
Exactly. It used to be 50 stacks, and you get a little bit more, a little bit less power per stack. Now you're only at 40, and it's more power per stack. So it takes a little bit of that risk that's built into Doom Orb. Of course, your stacks reset upon death. A little bit safer now to go for that stacking item, and I like this idea. We've seen a lot of Raijin so far during this HRX go for that Warlock Sash rush because they don't really need help in the early game. They clear well on their own. But Doom Orb is just saying that we got pressure early on, and Yammyn seems to feel like if they can really get it going, that they can snowball this one fairly quickly, and I agree with him.
And on the right-hand side of the map right now, keep it on the ward placements. There's 3 wards down for NRG, just controlling around the speed buff to the blue area, making sure that maniaKK knows exactly who could be coming through there, specifically Mask could be looking at, and also maybe catching 1 or 2 of those portals coming across from Baskin too, to alleviate some of the pressure, because maniaKK wants to keep this aggression up.
And Adapting wants to keep that aggression up as well. He wants to be standing on that rock saying, if Aquarius steps up, I'm going to be jumping on him. And I need to know who's behind me in one of those scenarios. Love that excellent ward coverage. Really, it just paints a picture of what NRG's game plan really is. That's to get maniaKK ahead and keep Aquarius behind.
Well, there's still a couple of wards on that right-hand side for LG too, just to keep a track of where Adapting is. And that one just went down there from Aquarius. Will give the game away that Adapting was lurking, but I don't think he's really lurking for a kill. He's lurking for this speed buff, but LG are here.
Everyone ready to go. This is what you need to do. You can't be on time for when the buff hits the ground. You need to be on time for when the buff is about to spawn. Otherwise, you're running the risk of getting invaded. A veteran team like Luminosity knows that and is right on pace.
Generally, the style of play we've seen out of LG and NRG through the years has always been, except for one game where we saw Yammyn get that Zeus quadra kill, very, not stagnant, but respectful of each other at the beginning of the game to see how this one will play out. Only one that really sprung to mind was that Zeus.
Exactly, and that just comes back to both these teams really like to play for the team fighting stage. Neither likes to, they both can get that big early lead. Luminosity, especially during this season, has really started to try and play like they want to get that early lead and break you early, but they still have that ability to out-team fight you at any stage of the game, and against NRG, it seems that they really always try to go for that.
And you talk about the team fight stage, well, we should really talk about the 2 two biggest changes for these rosters in maniaKK and Aquarius. No longer Dimmy, he's with us now, but Aquarius joins the LG squad, and those two, they're going to be big impacts in these team fights, and I feel like that could actually be the telling part of who could win this set.
I completely agree. Aquarius, a little bit different than ScaryD last year for Luminosity, or Baskin whenever they were under that C9 roster in Season 2. He's more of a team fighter, and he's not the star team fighter. ScaryD kind of similar to that for my money last year, but I think Aquarius' laning phase is a little bit more consistent than what ScaryD had, even despite his amazing performance here on the world stage. maniaKK completely different than Dimmy. Dimmy was the best team fighting solo laner.
Calling the mid lane pressure, and there's the ultimate. Mask has managed to take to the sky just Rafa, which isn't the prime target, but the taunts from Yammyn are so strong. There's no escape for Mask, and now adapting on the rotation, Ganesha is in trouble.
maniaKK here, but a great double portal from Baskin might just be enough to get him out. BaRRa's here too!
BaRRa around the back looking to clean up and get Rafa, but Rafa sneakily gets away. Jukes the unstable vortex from Baskin, but can he juke emilitoo? Baskin's looking for a potential escape route, but emilitoo recognizing he's not going to be able to find a kill, even if he hits all three.
Great rotation from BaRRaCCuDDa. Everyone was just focused on JeffHindla, and that's where Hachiman is so good. He can beat hunters on rotations by using that ultimate as mobility to get there and then hop off the horse and get some damage off at the perfect timing. Baskin's double portal is just sick, though. I mean, what a job to make sure that Jeff can survive just a little bit longer to make sure that that rotation can be completed.
But look what's going on here as well. NRG have been the ones focused on solo lane pressure the entire time. So what does LG do? Focus on mid lane pressure. Look for Rafa, look for Yammyn, and get BaRRaCCuDDa involved a little bit earlier on.
And this is what I love to see from LG. You just saying it. maniaKK is the focus for NRG. Get him ahead. For me, get Baskin ahead for Luminosity, and he is ahead right now. Up a level over Yammyn. The net worth, he's up a little bit there as well. He's up about 500 gold. And this is the biggest difference between last year's Luminosity team and this year's Luminosity team. Xenotronics had a pretty good set overall. Everyone's going to remember Game 5 against NRG, but doesn't get enough credit for Games 1 through 4, where he played well enough to get them to Game 5. But he wasn't the hard carry. That wasn't his role on the team. That was BaRRa's role. Baskin is as hard of a carry as you will find in the mid lane right now. And Luminosity saying, we actually have a mid laner now that can go head-to-head with Yammyn that we haven't had since Season 2 with MLC Stealth. I like this idea. Get him solo farm. We haven't really seen Master Jeff there very often.
And you can see at the moment, LG do have a 500 gold lead, but you just mentioned it's generally all on Baskin with that lead over Yammyn as it stands for the time being. Although BaRRaCCuDDa with a bit of a level lead over emilitoo is going to make a bit of an impact on that right-hand side too, but maniaKK looking to aggress on his own at the moment. Mask off the mark.
Big jump though, and here comes adapting with that ultimate 3-man knockup, but Baskin's gonna put down maniaKK.
Oh, Rafa's in trouble, but Baskin gets a second kill. He's hunting and looking for blood now. Adapting trying to juke, but you can't juke the shotgun. There's 3. Run, Yammyn, run, because Baskin's taunting you back to your tier 1 tower.
That's the mid lane carry right there for Luminosity. The big triple kill for Baskin, and that was not some last hits either. He's doing all of the damage for Luminosity right now.
And now it's a speed buff that potentially invaded on this side. Baskin did steal one a little bit earlier, but maybe this is the man to watch. Baskin in the mid lane seems to be here, and the crowd is cheering a speed buff steal.
Hey man, they'll cheer anything if Luminosity's doing it, especially when they're doing it with this amount of just swagger from Luminosity. Love the confidence they're playing with.
Cheeky little goal fury attempt coming out here from LG. Rafa though, as always, is the closest one to find out what's going on, and just his mere presence nearby gives a telltale sign that the goal fury will not be done. Obviously, they had it warded anyway, but Rafa's well aware of the situation.
Interesting pickup by Adaptin. You go for Brawler's Beat Stick here instead of something like a Jotun's Wrath. I thought we'd see Brawlers on the other side for Luminosity to deal with the healing from Sylvanus.
Well, let's just watch this back from Baskin's point of view of how this fight forced space and time. Hits one there for free, and then it was focus on to pick up Rafa, and then next up, Adaptin is just trying to live as long as possible. As you saw, Aquarius actually disappear to the right-hand side.
Just a great fight from Baskin, but Aquarius does a great job there as well, hitting that huge knockup. I was really calling the knockup off of Raffer's ultimate, but Aquarius had an equally good ult of his own.
Well, right inside, you can see that tier 1 tower for NRG has been whittled down way below half health as it stands. And that's realistically surprising, but not, because Aquarius, a warrior, will get a lot more tower damage than a Guardian in the early stages of the game off towards it. and the pressure that's been mounting from LG on the mid lane has forced this situation.
Exactly. It was the rotation to mid by maniaKK that allowed Aquarius to really get the majority of that tower damage on the right-hand side. And if you can take down Artio's tower, she is susceptible to ganks if you have something that can interrupt her dash. Something, say, like an artillery sash.
Well, speed buff is available for Mastery. He will be able to get his own this time. Both these junglers have to be very wary that every single team in the world would love to continue to strip them away from each other. And Adapting's lost 2 so far this game. After that first blood, he's been kind of slow. Like you said, though, that beat stick is online for him now, so a bit more damage available and a little bit of anti-heal, which can be useful for some of these guns.
Naja is the big anti-heal that you want to shut down, especially with Mask trying to use that Flaming Spear. I believe he's leveling it over his artillery sash to get that extra attack speed in the middle of a fight, try and get those crits off. So I actually do end up liking this brawler's beat stick, even though it didn't seem immediately apparent as to why he was going for it. I would like to see some anti-heal on the other side, though, to deal with iRaffer's wisps.
Still also BaRRaCCuDDa, these hunters going for Devourer's Gauntlets every time, reducing some of the sustain they're going to get out every single time. He's one of the reasons why you can see some of the anti-heal coming through. 4-3 though, 14 minutes in. No Gold Furies just yet, but LG do feel ever so slightly in control. Maybe because Baskin's got 4 kills.
Exactly, all 4 kills for Luminosity onto their mid laner right now.
But is that the focus from NRG now? Hang on a second. Mask in a bit of trouble. Went in deep, engaged on by Adapting. Into the sky goes emilitoo. Looking to clean it up, but it's not needed because Yammyn was there. Now Jeff in trouble as he's taunted and knocked up by iRaffer. 2 quick kills. And I spoke too soon, surprisingly enough, because now it's NRG on the Gold Fury.
Gold Fury down to half HP. BaRRa does have his ultimate. Think about it. Baskin coming in a little bit too early to steal it. NRG gonna get the Gold Fury.
And now Baskin's gonna run. Doesn't have any portals available, but I don't think NRG can catch just yet. maniaKK coming around the side. Baskin should have his portal up soon. Looking to buy a second and will get away. And even BaRRaCCuDDa just showed his face for a second to make sure that mid laner does not get bountied down. But look at NRG. They want more.
Aquarius only here to defend it. Is raged out. Portal Demon down to about half HP. Aquarius getting in to try and put some poke onto it. Baskin still lurking around that wall.
Reset, coming out from NRG for a second, but not fully. Aquarius still in there. Portal Demon goes to NRG. Aquarius has been slain. 6-4 in NRG. Swung the gold back in their favor. Look at the gold difference. It's nothing.
But again, starting all of that off was Mask falling, and Naja is one of those characters that is feast or famine. You're either making all the plays or you're getting plays made on you, and so far, Mask has been a little bit off the mark, whether it's timings with the ultimate like it was in mid and he gets pulled back underneath the tower, or on this right-hand side where he missed the ult. I believe he missed the ult on the red buff as well. Look, you can't fault him because you need to be able to play with enough confidence and say, I'm going to hit this ult without any setup. The worst thing that you can do now if you're Mask is to start second-guessing yourself. You missed a couple, put it out of your mind. As soon as you see an opportunity, you have to try and take it. I don't care if you miss 10 in a row. I want my jungler going for the next one anyways.
Still trying time and time again. Well, Adapting now, getting quite deep there, going to walk towards the back harpies. I think he put a ward down, but I can't be sure because of the characters on there. Speed buff has spawned, though, and a little cheeky steal attempt not going to happen. Although in mid lane, Ganesha was used early on as the tower siege was underway. Space inside fire. Rapper's off, but so is emilitoo. Both supports are down, and now the siege continues.
Mask gonna fall again. Adapting gets that kill. Now NRG's gonna be able to pick up this tier 1 without much else to worry about.
Keep an eye on Baskin. He's the real damage dealer, and that's why emilitoo's going in hard onto him. But Yammyn's gonna run quick. Aquarius, who picks up one. Adapting gets pushed in the back of the head and goes down 2. And now it's LG marching down mid lane, looking potentially. Are they just backing for safety here? No tier 1 tower.
They have no minions, so there's nothing up to farm, so they may as well back reset and put themselves in a position where they can try and invade while healthy. Right? Fire was still a little bit risky, especially with only Aquarius there to tank it up. It would have been possible, yes, but a little bit too risky of a call. Look, Luminosity's won 2 team fights. The common factor in both those team fights, Aquarius being there. Every time that maniaKK has out-rotated Aquarius, it's been NRG's fight. But when Aquarius
I thought so. The way they back told me that they might be trying to fire giant. But maniaKK and iRaffer are here. maniaKK fully focused, shotgun in the face by Baskin, trapped in the square of doom. maniaKK doing what he can to buy as much time as possible. LG get the kill, but now the reinforcements are on the way back. Rapper just blinked in.
He blinked in and there's no one there to help him really. He pulls Mask in, trying to get some good damage on him, but he's still alive.
Silenced out and knocks up 3. Round the corner is Yammyn trying to use the drums over the wall. NRG's here a little bit tilted right now, but emilitoo isn't. His snipes have been on point every single time.
Baskin provides portals to jump right on top of Yammyn. Silence. His jump silence down. BaRRaCC still chasing him.
BaRRaCC, can he get for the long-range shot? I don't think he can. Won't find it this time. JeffHindla on the front line's gonna make sure the portal from Baskin does connect, but Aquarius is back. Adapting's back. He was sneakily waiting round the corner, looking for pressure, and Jeff's out of mana.
Emil's out of mana as well, but Adapting's gonna get 1.
It's a bloodbath.
Adapting's gonna get 3. Baskin, the only one left alive for Luminosity, and now it's NRG's turn to try and get the Fire Giant.
I wonder if Adapting will taunt towards Baskin, but no, instead he'll take the blue buff. The rest of his damage dealers, Yammyn and emilitoo, still on this
They don't know
Fire
he's here.
Giant with maniaKK coming around, but Baskin
Now they
hasn't
do.
given up hope yet.
He's got no relics. This is a really risky position for Baskin to be in. He's getting collapsed on right now. He doesn't see Rapper behind
He
him.
didn't see him. And now he'll find out that emilitoo was also waiting after that nice route coming out from Rafa, and it's Mask versus the whole of NRG. He may just have to give this up. Do you go for the play?
I think you do, but now that Adapting has seen him, now he's going to be forced back. Adapting didn't know where Mask was, and I feel like there was an opportunity to try and sneak in there. Baskin is the one that should have just given it up, backed up. Losing him, that was a big boost of gold to NRG. He lost his Doom Orb stacks. Positioning like that with no relics and not a lot of information is risky, to say the least.
Let's have a look at that triple kill from Adapting there that time round, because that was a good one to have a look at.
And
Tell me
this
about
is classic Adapting. We saw him kind of move away from this, come around the back assassin style for a little bit at Super Regionals. But here he is playing a warrior like he would have played his Thor, his Kamazotz, whatever, coming in at the back end of a team fight and just cleaning up and wrecking the house.
Nice work from NRG there, but this is living up to what everyone was hoping for. There's always a little bit of a risk in these games when everyone's so hyped for it that they don't live up to expectation. But these are 2 prize fighters now, it feels like, just smacking each other in the face and then taking it back on their own. It's like over and over again.
LG Energy has yet to disappoint, and I did not think that it was going to this year either. They always have amazing sets.
And the good news is we've guaranteed got 1 more game after this one minimum. 23 kills in 20 minutes so far. emilitoo gonna look for the Gold Fury here. Won't be a contest out of LG unless a cheeky Baskin ultimate comes through, which we won't see there. So now the gold swing is back into NRG's favor.
Now Luminosity has to be careful to not give up too much. Being down about 3,500 gold against a Fire Giant, tier 1s, sure, you can probably give those up, but I want to see them defend tier 2s. You can't allow NRG to just take away all of your objectives and then build an insurmountable gold lead that you can't fight into. I really feel like LG can fight into this right now. They just can't afford to roll over and let NRG take what they want.
The left-hand side, Jeff and BaRRaCCuDDa waiting, Aquarius to join them too. Baskin still hanging in the mid lane, making sure that Adapting can't continue to pressure the tier 2 tower there on top. Now with Mask joining in, it's a bit of a standoff here. Both teams waiting for the right opportunity to initiate.
Baskin just going to be lurking, waiting to fire off that through space and time and try and surprise someone from NRG. Luminosity positioning so passively here.
Passively, but is that because they're against a Fire Giant?
It's got to be, but again, I think that you can't allow NRG to get that insurmountable gold lead where it isn't really there just yet. For whatever reason, they decide that tier 2 tower is the one they're going to defend. Now they're backing up. I think they're giving up all their tier 2s, and I just don't know if I'm a fan of that. I really feel like if you give up all 3 tier 2s, that's 4,500 gold now that you're behind, and then it is pretty much impossible to fight into a team that has 10k up.
And I guess that's one of the trickier things for Luminosity's comp here is on defense. How do you clear the wave?
It isn't a very good wave clearing comp. I mean, BaRRaCCuDDa's Heavenly Banner isn't too bad at clearing the wave from a distance.
Range.
You really need to use Ring Toss, but you kind of want to save that to get a big bounce off and hit multiple members of energy. The giving up the Gold Fury is the one call where I think Luminosity could have, if they want to play aggressively, go in and try and at least force energy into a fight, because Luminosity has won every 5-on-5 team fight so far. The one that they lost where Adapting gets the triple kill is the back end of one that they had already won. So I feel like Luminosity grouping up and just kind of testing energy isn't the worst idea, but now that 2,000 gold lead, it was what, 2,500 before that Gold Fury? Now all of a sudden it's 7,000. and that's really hard to fight into.
Well, take into account how Season 4 has been all year long, is Phoenix defenses has been the key to success for some of these teams.
Very true.
And maybe that's what LG are going to look for here. Adapting in the mid lane, going to push out a couple more minions. Baskin around the corner as well. Keeping out for the space inside, but here we go. Aquarius goes in. Rafa ults defensively first of all, and the drums of war have been sounded from Yammyn.
Big damage out of Yammyn, taunting Aquarius back in. emilitoo taken to the sky, trying to find Aquarius, but he can't find him. Luminosity doesn't force energy back, but they don't lose anyone in the process.
But I think one of the big key there for me, Ryan, is the fact that now they can't really siege Phoenixes without some of these relics, without some of these ultimates. The tail end of the Fire Giant will now wear off.
But that's the thing, is that I don't think NRG ever wanted to siege a Phoenix at this stage of the game. It's only 23 minutes in. Once they got that Fire Giant, NRG's probably telling themselves, look, if we get Gold Fury and 2 tier 2s, we're in a great spot to win this game. Not only did they get that, but they got both towers on the right-hand side. And again, 2,000 gold grows to 10,000 off of one Fire Giant. I just don't think Luminosity could have afforded to give all that up. Now, look, it's not over by any stretch, but Luminosity really has to work a lot harder to come back from a 10,000 gold deficit over a 2,500 gold deficit against a Fire Giant team. That's just my argument, is that I think it's easier to fight into a 2,500 gold lead when a team has a Fire Giant than a 10,000 gold lead for a team that has no FG.
Well, the one benefit for LG here is they do have Janus, and Janus is in a pretty strong spot now. The itemization build from him, he's still missing the run up to Hootie as it stands. Got the lost artifact though, so getting towards it. The big key is that he can globally look across the map and potentially steal it away. But they're already here to fight.
But remember, one of those things that changed, that made a Janus a bit more consistent, a bit, pretty strong, is that he lost that, insane 200% scaling. He lost that one-shot snipe ability. Look, it's still going to do a lot of a carry's health, but it won't truly one-shot until you're full build with some power potions.
Well, here we go. The dance has begun. The most important dance for game one, I would say, is this one right here. Everybody grouped around, and Aquarius has to leap away back towards his team. Adapting, still always sneakily looking for an opportunity to swing around the back, clearing out wards in his way. He still plays this Robin just like he would an assassin.
Exactly, and it's a perfect hybrid of what's strong right now and what fits Adapting's playstyle.
Fire Giant has been pulled and slowly chipped away by emilitoo, but it's JeffHindla taking a bit of poke, and there's Adapting making sure he gets to Baskin. Sashing from Mask onto Adapting, who overhead kicks away. Yammyn sounds the drums though, and already JeffHindla's dead. emilitoo found Mask from downtown, and now Aquarius will fall too. LG are in tatters here. NRG not even looking for the Fire Giant. They can look straight for the Phoenix.
They might be able to end the game right here. I mean, with Baskin up and with ultimate, it's going to be difficult. But if Baskin takes too long to back, it could be potential for NRG. Wise decision from LG's mid laner to head back to base immediately. They need to be able to defend not only their Titan, but potentially other Phoenixes.
I don't think they were going to go for two. I think one Phoenix on the right, Fire Giant forced. You go back and get it in time. Still for the respawns. It's going to be a while. But then Baskin still has his ult. He's just going to have to time it blind if he wants to go for it, because there is
honestly, I think I like Baskin going, if LG want to contest, Baskin going back to base and ulting from base to provide portals for Mask and Jeff to get to the Fire Giant was potential, but clearly Luminosity decided they don't want to fight in that corridor, and I can't blame them. That's clearly an option where Raijin excels. The beginning of that fight starts off so well for NRG because Raiju bounces to Baskin and to BaRRaCCuDDa. As soon as you're 2/3 health of the carry, you're already thinking about ejecting from a team fight because you haven't, no one's even looked at you and you're already fairly weak. So that's a great start to that fight for NRG. And then, I mean, Tycho drums through that corridor is just a nightmare to deal with.
I know at this time the speed buff is just spawned, the blue buff is about to spawn, as so is the red for NRG here. And that means that with the Fire Giant in tow, they can just look towards these Phoenixes, and there'll be potentially a last stand out of LG that's required. We've seen them try to defend a couple of times. I feel like, is Jeff going too early with these ultimates, do you think? Or is like because I feel like it's very telegraphed when you see that the pillars come down that we are going to go.
I mean, you're guaranteed to force a sprint if the placement is good enough that you can at least get one offensive/defensive relic out from NRG before the fight even starts. Dharmic Pillars is a tool that I think can be used very early in a team fight to start it off. I think it's great to clean up team fights if someone's trying to run away or to use his peel. It's not, the Cataclysm. It's not Wrath of Terra even from Sylvanus. It isn't the make or break ultimate in a team fight for me, but JeffHindla just hasn't been able to use it to its maximum effectiveness, mostly because NRG just hasn't really cared about it so far.
Well, 3 members of NRG on the left-hand side. Looks like maniaKK may be joining them soon. Adapting still split pushing the mid lane here to keep pressure there. Janus on the right-hand side, played by Baskin, is just going to clear out some fire minions, but Aquarius goes in, uses his ultimate to force out NRG. Yammyn did jump away then, so wait for his cooldowns before we see NRG reinitiate, unless LG group up.
Mask got poked down to half by adapting all by himself, so Mask had to go back to base in order to heal up. That's why Luminosity doesn't feel too confident trying to defend this. You know, a throwaway Dharmic Pillar, not enough to stop NRG.
And now there's only one Phoenix standing for NRG to look to take down away from LG. Ultimate's down for Aquarius and for JeffHindla here, whereas nobody on NRG has used an ultimate yet. So that is another one down as Mask goes up.
There's a through space of time as well!
Got him! The timing! The timing! How did you predict that, you god? But not good enough, because NRG, you may get one of us, but there's still 4 more standing at your Phoenix with the Fire Giant, and you've used everything to just remove emilitoo.
That's what this comp is designed to do, but it's only single target. JeffHindla in there trying to defend that Phoenix. He will fall to Yammyn, who has 6 kills of his own. NRG very close to claiming LG's last remaining Phoenix.
The Phoenix will go down, and 5 minions on the right means this could spell disaster here. BaRRaCCuDDa could fall momentarily. He's trying to do what he can to sustain with his assy, but he won't get back to the fountain in time. And Baskin, the last line of defense, 7, 1 and 4 for him. But this could, should, and will be game 1 for NRG, the defending world champions. Find the win.
Luminosity had a great start to the game, but it all comes back to that one fight where adapting comes around the back, gets that triple kill, and NRG gets a Fire Giant that expands a very small lead into an insurmountable one.
I think the biggest thing from that right for me, the Naja.
Yes.
That's the biggest talking point.
Agreed.
I think that's the one we're gonna see. Do they change it up? Do you think they should?
I think they should. I mean, Naja's a confident pick, a confidence pick as well, that you need to have a lot of confidence in order to play it effectively. If Mask doesn't feel comfortable right now for whatever reason, just an off day with the Naja, throw it away, give me something else.
Well, we've still got 2 more games to go, so let's get it back to Kelly on the desk to break down game 1.
Well, what do you guys agree with the casters that Naja was really the point that was the weak link in LG's roster?
It definitely felt like a weak link throughout the entirety of the match. Match just was not able to connect with a lot of those Naja ultimates, and there were a couple of misses. There were some where he was just tossing them out when the actives were coming for NRG, but if you're not actually able to remove somebody from the fight, it kind of eliminates the single target purpose behind Luminosity's draft.
Yeah, and the very first fight he took kind of told the entire story of the game for him. He decides to ult into the tier 1 tower mid lane, ends up finding iRaffer on Sylvanus, goes up, goes back down, gets pulled by Yammyn, and just dies. After that, I feel like every fight for him hasn't been really in his favor.
I mean, especially going up against Adapting's Ravana, who, like the casters were saying, that triple kill into the Fire Giant is what turned it, because it looked like it was actually in Luminosity Game's favor at the early game.
That was the complete breaking point for that game against Luminosity, because NRG made a couple of mistakes in the early and semi-mid game, but the moment that Luminosity messed up, it was like Dimmy and I were talking about, Fire Giants on the table. You can't really afford to lose that out, because once you give NRG even the slightest inch, they'll take the whole mile.
Yeah, NRG kept getting great team fights and diving that tower, but LG did end up punishing them a few times with a few over-aggressive tower fights there.
Yeah, it was the mid lane where NRG went for a siege. They got a pick and went for another target. Then it was maniaKK pushing the offense, trying to go even further, and then the entire team fight just turned because Aquarius got a huge transformation off and just wiping NRG almost by himself.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we got to talk about Baskin on that Janus, getting a triple kill really early on in the game and just devastating throughout the rest of it. Do you think they're going to let him have Janus next game?
Most likely not. NRG doesn't, if they don't want to play against a god, they just ban it. They don't care where people might view it standing in tier list or the meta. If it annoys them, and I'm almost certain that Adapting was not very happy about losing his speed buff multiple times, they're probably going to get rid of it.
Yeah, Dimmy, I think you're the one that pointed it out, that several times Baskin solo stole. his speed buff.
Yeah, he doesn't care. See, Baskin in the solo lane back in the days, he would win the solo lane and then just walk over and steal the enemy speed buff. He still does the exactly same thing in the mid lane, goes there all by himself, ults himself out, and Adapting is just standing there without a speed buff. I love it. Such confidence.
And yeah, that confidence was really good at the start of it, but towards that mid and late game, it was a little rough. We can actually see Janus here with that snipe very at the end of the game, actually getting a kill off of someone. Unfortunately, they really weren't able to turn that around because NRG just comes back and wipes the team.
It's fun killing the Hunter, but I think at the end of that match, Luminosity kind of just accepted that there wasn't really any actual opportunity for them to come back into that game. That's usually the point in time where you're looking for whatever kill you can get before they close out the game, and mostly just discussing what you're planning to adjust in the secondary match.
Why didn't they pick up any anti-healing items for Luminosity Gaming?
This is something that baffled me as well. You see Mask is playing Ninja here with the ringtails being easily able to apply anti-healing to the entire enemy team. If it was a brawler fairly early on, he would have been just fine. Went for the Ansel first item, and after that, he just didn't pick up on it. Here we see first blood from Adapting here. Absolutely phenomenally played. I think it does go to Bluestone.
It goes to the
here.
Bluestone pendant.
Yes.
That tick damage. You don't really ever expect to die to Bluestone, but when you're so low level, and it's Ravana.
Only so much you can do, and again, this really was just like the game-changing point.
Yeah, the caster said it really well, that he's still playing it like it's an assassin, highly mobile, just jumping around and picking off people. He's not even really engaging.
Yeah, this is a great thing Adapting here. He's adapted and added it to his playstyle. He didn't make his playstyle to be the initiator. He also still knows how to play that deadly assassin, also if it's over a Ravana warrior.
All right, what are we going to see going into game number 2? What does Luminosity game have to do to win this next match?
I would like to see Mask on a different sort of jungle. Mask does tend to prefer his assassins, but maybe even bringing back the BaRRaCCuDDa, or I wouldn't necessarily lean towards Mercury, but that has come up as a comfort pick for him in the past. So that's also a pretty viable option for Lumi here.
So even though with Adapting playing a warrior, you think Mash should play an assassin?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. It's just that if Adapting were to get the Ravana again, which I also am not entirely certain that Luminosity would really want to give Adapting Ravana again. It's merely speculation, but I do feel as though BaRRaCCuDDa can probably fare a little bit better against a Ravana.
Yeah, I do expect to have Adapting be on a warrior again, and also Mask also on a warrior. The first blood here that we saw a couple of moments ago kind of spilled the doom for them here, that they lost the soul lane that and LG loves to fight for. So I think that Mask's going to be on a warrior, trying to be even more aggressive in the early game and try to secure pressure, trying to secure first blood maybe them for this time around.
Well, we're about to find out because it is picks and bans time for game number 2, everyone, of Luminosity Gaming versus NRG.
This is really just their chance to try and take it, or at least tie it up. With it being a best of 3 now, neither side can afford to hold back anything.
No, not at all. I don't think we're really going to see what we saw before with Rival, where they're going to test some things out, maybe put Thoth in the ADC. I'm sure they're taking this very seriously right now.
Interesting for me to see here, NRG is on the first pick. That means LG, who just lost the game, chose second pick.
Why do you think they did that?
I am very unsure. I would like to think that it's potential they want to wait and think that there's more OP characters, that quote-unquote OP characters, meta picks, more meta picks than there's to ban, so they can get to have 2 and NRG only gets 1.
All right.